Hello and welcome back. My name is Wanjiru Kihusa and this is Bold Moves. Now, this podcast, we talk about doing audacious, bold, brave things. And today's episode, we're talking about building our village. It's sort of a building up on what I talked about in the previous episode, which is where I was sharing my experience from moving from Kenya, from Nairobi, into Dubai, into London. And one of the lessons that I took away from it is you need to build your own community and build a village. Now, how would that be? Why would you need to be bold to build a village? It's because a lot of us fear or nobody just feels easy to make friends. It's not easy to make friends. And so it's a bold move to build your own village. And in the last episode, I talked about how I saw on Instagram, somebody was saying, we've been told that it takes a village, but nobody quite tells you that you need to build the village, or at least participate, deliberate in the making of that village. And so, having lived abroad for now, I think almost 6 years, I would say these are my lessons. We'll start with talking about reasons to build the village, to build a community. Why is it important? One, it gives you a sense of belonging, and when I was home, when I was in Kenya, I took for granted that I had people who we had similar values. There's a church community, there's a neighborhood, your proximity, your locality, your parents, your family. I could just get in the car, and in 2-3 hours I'd be able to get to see my mom or things like that. My mother-in-law lived a couple of houses down the block. It was so easy, and I realized I took it for granted. So while living abroad, I have learned that it's important to build that community because it gives you a sense of belonging. Now, living abroad, especially in Europe right now, and of course even in Dubai, you realize, you start to stand out. You start to notice, oh, I'm Black. In Kenya, everyone is, it's not a big deal, but you start to realize there are things that are different about you, and it can feel a bit lost, right? You can feel a little bit lost. And so building a village is a great way for you to find your footing again. That means you should not only be friends with people from your own country. Chances are, because of the shared experience, you will gravitate towards them, and you will, by the way, I have a lovely, wonderful Kenyan community that we've been part of in Dubai. And right now here in London, we already have some Kenyan neighbors who are phenomenal, and we love it. And it's good also for our son. But essentially, I want to say that it's important not to just have those, but those are good. I would like to put a caveat here. Please be careful, especially if you're a Kenyan abroad, or you are finding people from your community in this new country, in this new community. I'd say please be careful not to have proximity friendships. When you think about it, there's no shared value. There's absolutely no reason why you're friends with that person except the fact that they're from back home, and that's a dangerous thing. A sense of belonging should come also with shared values. And this is, I would say, onto the second thing. It's the element of communal resilience, right? In that community, I will talk mostly about the Dubai community because, I'm still making friends here in the UK, and we're kind of new, so still getting our footing on that front. But I would say it was so lovely to have people stand with you during difficult and even good times. So we were able to rally around a friend who, when he lost his dad, and whether it's financial support, or in our case, there's a time we had to travel to Kenya to bury a friend. We were able to leave our child with, a couple friend of ours, and didn't even worry at all because, again, of what I said, shared values. So when you have people around you, but they can just be a good backing behind you in this new country, in this new space. And so that resilience, and I want to shout out as well to some of our like this couple who are our neighbors in the first house we lived in. And we built this tradition, which we've kept to date, even now that we are far away, to celebrate good news. We celebrated promotions with celebrated news of pregnancy and a coming baby. And, we've been back there several times just to celebrate good news. And it was a deliberate effort on our end. So we're not only gathering together for bad news or for negative stuff. So I said, sense of belonging, resilience. It gives you resilience because you are able to do life alongside other people. Another reason for building your community is to improve your well-being. Abroad is lonely. It's lonely. You leave behind your friends and all your support systems, and you come into this new country, and things are kind of weird. You're getting used to new things. I know in Dubai, you're driving on this other side of the road. You are used to driving on this other side of the road. All of a sudden, you're a minority, whether that is in how you look or even religion or things like that, but you're in a new place. And so building or having a community or having that village, it improves your well-being. It is good for your mental health. It's good for your mental well-being. And to speak on this, I would also say, stay plugged in with back home with your friends. And this requires a lot of deliberate planning on your end, because there are time zone challenges. And so, like for me, every Sunday I call my mom. I do a video call. I want to see her. I want to hear how she's doing, and there's no hurry. Sometimes it's a 20 minutes call. I don't call when I'm in a hurry, or it ends up being an hour. And I call my sisters. We have a joint video call at least once a week. I call my in-laws, and I make sure that especially they get to hang out with their grandson and they get to hear how he's doing, and so those are the deliberateness. So on the well-being front, I would say building your community, but staying plugged in to the community back home. And then I would like to close by saying also, there's also the cultural preservation. And this has to do with gravitating around people who are, for example, from home. So for us, moving with a 2.5-year-old to Dubai, and then moving with Keith, now he is 7, into a new country again, which is not home. We've been concerned by the data we've seen about raising multicultural children. I mean, children who have lived in various countries, over time. There's data on army brats, or kids whose parents worked in the army, or whose parents were diplomats. And so that moving from one place, and it feels like you're always uprooting your child from here to there. And some of the data I was seeing is that they sometimes lack a sense of belonging. They don't know where is home, who am I, And so we've been keen to be careful on that element. And so spending time with our Kenyan friends, right, and raising kids together. It's been amazing just to watch. Oh, these ones were married, but they didn't have kids, and now they have a child. And now look, oh my goodness, he's going to school. But organizing play dates, picnics, all of that, but also just hanging out together. And of course, wherever we are, our kids are, they get to see home. All right, now let's talk about, how do you build community? There's really no easy way. One is, of course, start off with shared value. As you meet people, right? And hi, my name is so and so. Hi. So step one, of course, is putting yourself out there. Like, go where people are. I mean, I feel okay, that's number one, but I feel like it's an obvious one. Go where people are. Go to church. Go to that work event. Go to, there's a, group of people from your country that are gathering somewhere. Go, so that's a sense of belonging. You can find it, So first of all, seek it out. Place yourself in situations. And I know for introverts, this is a little bit hard, but just try and put yourself out there. If you're married, this is a little easier, because I feel like sometimes we marry people who are opposites, and you're going to be dragged to something or other. But go for baby showers, go for parties, go for all of those things. And then ensure shared beliefs and shared values. You don't have to be friends with everyone you meet. You can be acquaintances, and it's okay. Mutual respect, good for you. But you don't have to have them in your close-knit circle, and yeah, it's not necessary. So, because again, there are many Kenyans, there's I'm sure a bigger Kenyan community that is out there, but I don't have to be friends with every single one of them if there is no shared value. So how do you do it? I would say then, create sort of routines, shared spaces, places where you gather, right? So it could be, hey, let's meet after church this week and the weather is so nice. Let's go have a picnic or let's go have lunch together. So of course you're busy. Everyone is busy. So you will need to calendar these things and sort of note them down. And FYI, today's episode is not just for those people who are living abroad. These things apply even if you're still in your country of origin where you're originally from. That's okay. I actually feel like you might need to work harder because usually that stuff kind of comes automatically. And so we're not too deliberate. We're not too intentional about seeking out a specific type of people. And I think for that, I would say try and seek out people who are not like you as well and add them to your circle in such situations. But we're not too intentional. Looking back, I realized I took a ton of stuff. For granted, and I was not too intentional. I visited people and I was there for people, but I don't think I was as intentional as I am right now. So yeah, go for events and put yourself out there, and then take a step ahead, or I would say one step further, for people who you are now deep friends, and be there for them. Say, hey, can I have your child over for lunch, for a play date today? You want to rest? You rest. I got this. I'll take care of the kids, right? Of course, again, the shared values, there are places your children may not go for a sleepover if you guys don't know each other like that yet. But you can also work on getting to that place where you know each other that way and you can feel confident in it, right? Ask. So one of the things that has made us settle a little faster here in the UK, in London, I do remember someone asking me, oh, you sound like you've been here for a year plus. I can't believe you've only been here for a couple of months. And I told them it's because we asked a lot of questions from the people who are already living here, who we've gotten to meet. So they told us about bulk shopping and going to Costco. They told us, so like, for example, the couple that the Kenyan couple that's kind of our neighbors, their child goes to rugby and we've enrolled our son in rugby. And so during those rugby tournaments or practice, we now have people who we can stand alongside and chat and catch up. How was your week? All of that. And because of that, we've gotten to already to a place where, hey, I'll have the kids today after church. I'll drop them back home whenever, in the evening, and, I'll bring them home. But be the one who is offering as well. Don't always wait for stuff to happen. Be the one that's offering to be the supporter, the support system for that other family, And then, I have had this concept of relationships are, like banks, where before you can make withdrawals, you also need to, put deposits. Of course, we're not transactional in our relationships. We want to avoid being like, oh, but I already did this for you. But it's true. It's easier to ask a favor from a relationship you've been investing in. So be there for people, offer support, offer help, and that could be one of the ways, so that the day you actually may need their help, you got it, And then I would say, try your very best not to be caught up in staying indoors with the person that you only know. It's very comforting, by the way. I will say moving around has been great for our marriage, because we've reminded ourselves to hang out, to spend time, to just, like, you're my friend. For a while, you're the only person I know in this country. It's brought us closer. But I would also say sometimes navigate the mundane. Like, for example, for me, I'm like, okay, which train do I need to take there? Okay, I need to connect. Do I need to take the bus? Am I going to get it wrong? Okay, do I need a ticket? Will I just go tap my phone? There's a lot of anxiety that sometimes that comes just from being outside. Just try your best to jump past that so that you can be there for others. And I say that because, for example, for us, my husband has family, has a cousin who lives out here, and we were like, we're coming to visit you for Christmas, and we hung out all of us together for Christmas. And again, it helped us feel a little less lonely. So I'm gonna stop here, but I hope you picked up a couple of why you need to build a village and how you can do it. And I want to challenge you this week to be a bit more deliberate with your community and with your with your village, whether that is creating a new one, if you're in a new location, or looking after the one that you already have. Remember, if you have a question, if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, reach me to me at wanjirukihusa at gmail.com. I'm also Wanjiru Kihusa. It's written just as it is said, Wanjiru Kihusa. That as well. That's also my handle on Instagram as well. I am available on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, however, I go by Caroline Wanjiru, and that's because in the work setup I go by my first name as well. A long story, I just have trouble having people mispronounce my second name. So Caroline is an easier one, which is actually my official name. But you can find me online as well, and I'm happy to interact. In the meantime, follow, drop a review, drop a comment. I'm happy to hear from you, and have an audacious, bold week. Bye-bye.